Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to All-Star edition of No Doubter All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, the whole 9 yards. It's happening a week from today, and we're just gonna preview it for y'all. We're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be doing some pour and score action as well. So we're gonna kind of switch things up a bit and be we're gonna preview the upcoming midpoint of the season. We're almost there, Travis. We're in week 14, and it's almost halfway done. It's felt like it's been a while, and it's just the halfway point is just sneaking up on us. The All-Star break, which means the trade deadline is fast approaching. But yeah, we're going to talk about all that and more on this special edition of No Doubter. Thank you all for joining us. I'm your co-host Barrett Boombastic. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, as you said, it is. I believe for all teams now, they've actually hit just over the halfway point of their schedule for the year now. So we played more than half of the regular season at this point. Got the All-Star break just around the corner, and that means the All-Star game itself out of Dodger Stadium in LA. The rosters have been set. Some definitely some big names in there. There'll be some fun guys to see as part of it. We're just shaking things up a little bit. The division races, they still continue to go, but they're very much kind of in the same place as they've been in recent weeks. So we thought, hey, we should just go ahead and give a little bit of focus to the All-Star game as it comes up and take care of that.
There you go. I always enjoy the All-Star game. It doesn't matter anymore. It used to matter. The winner of the All-Star game determined home field advantage for the World Series, but as of only a few years ago, it is insignificant and inconsequential, shall I say. It's not insignificant, and they've made it very much all in on the pageantry, but it is still fun. You're seeing the cream of the crop all in one place at the same time. So, and then of course the home run derby, which some very interesting participants, 5 of the 8 have been announced, and we're going to talk about that and our predictions for the remaining 3. I always liked the home run derby. It's going to be all this is going to take place at Dodgers Stadium, the third oldest stadium in baseball. So it's going to be super fun. But before we get into all that, Trav, we have to do our favorite segment. What is it?
Yes, sir. We're doing it once again here, kind of in this little time period of the show where we're bringing back an old favorite of ours, and that is pour and score. Because when you pick your adult beverage of choice to enjoy, however you're taking in America's greatest pastime, whether it's on your couch, if you maybe sitting out on the back porch, out by the pool with the radio on, if you're at the game itself, no matter how you're doing it here, you just gotta pour. And because when you pour, you score. It's your way to be part of the game itself here. And so I guess I'll go ahead and kick us off here this evening. I picked this up today at the store, and as I was bringing it home, I was thinking maybe I might. I feel like we've talked about this brewery before. I can't remember if I've done this one before, but we're at this point now. If we do hit repeats every once in a while, I can't remember if this was one or not, but I think that's fine. But either way, it's the El Chingon India Pale Ale by Four Corners Brewing Company that I'm going to be drinking this evening here. So
nice,
yeah, and so it's man, it's funny. This can is got the description here in Spanish, but if I remember my Spanish, I can read well here. This India Pale Ale is a pure beer. It's brewed with a badass blend of mighty American hops balanced with Munich malt and dry hopped for aromatic intensity. I don't know what that word is, but crank up your Chingon factor. So
there you go. El Chingon, baby.
Yeah, the hype man is in the spirit.
Yes.
So 7.3% alcohol by volume, 72 IBUs. This is the Four Corners Brewing Company right here in Dallas, Texas. They can be found. Presumably, this is their Twitter and or Instagram handle at FC Brewing. So,
I have had this IPA. It's been a long time since I've had it, but I do remember having it. I think I had it at the Texas Craft Brewers Festival one time.
Yeah, I want to say maybe you have previewed this one on the show, but I have not. So
I know for a fact I haven't previewed it, but I did. The name sounds familiar, so I'm very eager to hear your review because I have forgotten about this. It is an IPA though, so I'm already going in with high hopes.
So it came out a little bit more fizzy and foamy than normal here, but you can see it's got a nice translucent color to it. Have a nice golden yellow goes with it. Ooh,
Very
yeah,
nice.
strong hoppy head to it. Ooh. Oh yes, this reminds me why, whether I'm at the store or I'm I'm out at the bar, I'm at a restaurant to take a look at the look at what they've got on tap or what they've got in stock, and I'm looking for something to drink. And if I need something to return to here, this reminds me why this is a beer that I'm never hesitant to do so, because it truly is that good. I feel like there's both in terms of the hoppier side of things and beers in general. I really love it. It tastes like summer. It goes down nice and smooth, nice and easy. It's funny. It's got the. I think this is a gateway IPA. I would, but it's a gateway IPA that is still so good that even as just like an experienced hophead like myself, I can still appreciate it. And it's almost that feeling of, it's like pulling out your favorite U2 album, Barrett, and
yes,
and just the feeling of and the feeling, it's like pulling out the Joshua Tree, a certified classic there of some of the greatest hits that that U2 has ever put out. However, it is so refined. It's just a groundbreaking, ahead of its time kind of album for what it did, and you appreciate it that much. I feel the same way with this kind of beer here. And so I would give this bad boy here a good solid 9 out of 10.
I was going to guess that was the rating that you were going to give it. You were speaking pretty highly of it. It's interesting that you would say it was a gateway IPA, given 72 IBUs is nothing to scoff at, 7.3 ABV. Those are pretty high.
It just goes down really well. I feel like it presents a lot to you, but it's in an accessible way. That's just the best way I can describe it. It's an accessibly strong IPA. It almost has like, it's like, if maybe if you made like a really hoppy Pilsner or lager, that's the best way that I can describe this.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, man. I'm very eager to get to have that now. I mean, I'm trying to get my Dallas area IPA mainstays. Now, I've had other Dallas IPAs that will remain nameless, but I think I need to at least get a 6-pack of this to see if I can add this to the rotation. So there are some other IPAs in the area that are more easily accessible, but I need to, on my way back from the Big D, swing on down to Total Wine, and I'll tell you what, you cranked my interest. This is probably the next one I'm going to get. So
should do it. Rock solid, reliable brewer. Have yet to have something from Four Corners that I don't enjoy.
Man, oh man, you learn something new every day, man. It has the no doubter stamp of approval.
Absolutely.
Sure. All right.
What about yourself, Boone? What are you drinking this evening?
Well, I'm going to hop on the bourbon bandwagon. I have been acquiring some bottles of bourbon as gifts from friends and loved ones for occasions that have recently come by. I featured one that my brother-in-law gave me, and now I'm going to feature one that my wife gave me for Father's Day. This is Old Forester. Now, I've had Old Forester before, but this is a different version of it. It is the 1910 Old Fine Whiskey. So it's not the regular kind. It is a slight difference.
Let's say I remember this Old Forester brand from before.
Yes.
To say this is a new one that you're drinking here. So
yes, and as you can see, I have busted into it. So I've been enjoying it lately. It's 93 proof. So it's on the approachable side of things. It's got a brief description on here. I'm going to read the back real quick. It says, "This whiskey is sold by us only, and we are responsible for its richness and fine quality. Its elegant flavor is solely due to original fineness developed with care. There is nothing better in the market." There you go. George Garvin Brown, the founder. So this is also Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. I have been staying in that part of the country as it is the mecca of bourbon. I'm going to be going there in the fall, so I'm trying to educate myself on the Kentucky bourbons, just what my mainstay is. So there's so many distilleries to decide, and we have a finite amount of time. So I'm deciding which ones do I go to. I already know I'm going to Buffalo Trace, but Old Foresters there. You got Maker's Mark, you got Woodford Reserve. There's a lot of options. So I gotta see if this one's gonna make the list, but we'll see. So without further ado, I'm gonna pour it in one of my many Glencairns at this point. On the camera, here we go.
How many Glencairns do you have now?
I have like 6. Three of them have an inscription on it. This one's got my name on it, literally.
Nice.
I have 2 of these. One of them is Iron Root Glencairn. Then I have 3 others, and then I have another one that's technically not a Glencairn. I'll have to feature that later. It's not a Glencairn, but it kind of looks like it. So that'll be my next one that I drink out of. But without further ado, pretty dark color to it, but still translucent to a degree. I have seen darker, but with a lighter proof, you would expect it to not be as dark. Good nose. It's not overpowering, but it's pretty solid. It's definitely, there are some noses on bourbons where you immediately sniff it and you're just like, oh man.
That's gonna be a strong one.
Yeah, those are the high proof ones for sure. But this one, it's like, it's enticing. You're like, okay. So I'm gonna dive in. Mm-hmm. So I swirl it around. The hints, the flavors just hit you. They just kind of boom. They just kind of tap your taste buds a little bit, all from all sides as you swirl it in your mouth and you swallow it. Nice finish. It's great effect right there. I'm really starting to dig this proof range, the 90 to 100. I used to like the ones that are like 100 to 120, but I'm kind of peeling it back down a bit. This is kind of like the 80 to 90 range is like blonde ale lager is to a beer, whereas the 100 to 120 is like what an IPA is to a bourbon. Now, it'll be funny because I like the extreme end when it comes to beers, but on the bourbons, I just don't have them as much, so I'm dialing back, but to each his own. I still do like this. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think if I wouldn't call it a gateway. If you truly want a gateway, get yourself a good old 80 proof, maybe even a Scotch or a very low proof bourbon, where all bourbons are distilled in America. Scotch is obviously from Scotland, but then this can be like your second or third as you're trying to ramp your way up in there. But this is a rock solid distillery. I haven't had a bourbon from Old Forester that I don't like. They're all solid. So 8.5 out of 10, Old Forester, straight from the heart of Kentucky. 1910 Old Fine whiskey. This is not the standard version. It's the 1910 Old Fine whiskey. So very nice. In 1910, a fire on Whiskey Row led to Old Forester being rebarreled into heavy charred barrels. The double-barreled expression follows the same process as the original Old Fine whiskey. So there you go. A pivotal year in bourbon history. So there you go.
Very good, Boom. Love it. More more bourbon introduced here to the show, and one day I will go through our lists of of all the bourbons you've tasted to this point on No Doubter, and make my way over to Total Wine and just blow a whole bunch of money in one setting on stocking up on my cabinet for it. But that will come one day. But for right now, we close out this segment here, as we always do, reminding our audience to enjoy your adult beverage, whichever one you choose. Across the spectrum, whether you're looking at beer, whiskey, vodka, wine, whatever it is, drink responsibly. It's the only way to do it. We always want you back here every week, listening to us and enjoying time with your family and living life the safe way back here. So drink responsibly, folks. It's the only way to do it. That in mind.
Cheers, man.
Yes, sir. Cheers.
Clink. All right.
That in mind.
Get right. Yes.
Yep, we'll get right into it here, talking about the 2022 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Is 1 week from today at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Next Tuesday night, we will not be broadcasting during the game. I've got plans out to be watching it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about what to expect of the game this year. Notable storylines, the home run derby, the lineups, all those things. But first, we need to bring you the No Doubter of the week. That is none other than from July 9th, just a few days ago.
Yes.
The hot rookie sensation, Mr. Nolan Jones of the Guardians.
Yes. Do you want to share the screen or do you want me to?
You go on and share the screen. You've got it bookmarked.
This was an extra special one. Not a whole lot of truly big bombs at this point, but this one, you get a rookie special because Nolan Jones of the Cleveland Guardians, this is his first ever home run in the big leagues. And boy, was it special. And if you've been watching on our YouTube channel, The No Doubters, you will recognize the trajectory of this particular homer. So
you'll recognize the stadium it was hit in as well, because it's been the site of many No Doubters this year.
Yes. Oh, God. Oh, no. Technical difficulties. All right, here we go. Set the scene. Runners at the corners. Oh, man. My apologies. It's so it feels like every day feels like a Monday this week. But anyway, set the scene. They are in Kauffman Stadium in the heart of America, Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes, it's on the Missouri side.
The Missouri side's the cool side, apparently. They have Arrowhead Stadium, Kauffman Stadium. It's just that whole thing is just a joke. Well, it's not a joke; it's a conspiracy. Same name. I don't know. Ignorance. Anyway, the Guardians are up 8-zip. Runners are at the corners. Nolan Jones has yet to hit a home run. He's facing Kowar 43 pitches in when all of a sudden in comes the pitch. Waboom! 96-mile-an-hour fastball. We've seen this before, ladies and gentlemen. It goes splash into the fountain. 457 feet. His first home run of his big league career, and his family goes wild. Look at that 3-run bomb. What a beautiful stadium. What a day he'll never forget. And the family's going crazy. Going all the way from Cleveland.
I swear, our podcast should be sponsored by Kauffman Stadium with how much free publicity we give them for all the No Doubters hit there.
Yes, we will take all the money we can get. We've kind of exhausted the Mile High Stadium ones at this point, but just looking around, I mean, you got to give it to that guy. 457
Absolutely.
feet, 109.2 miles per hour off the bat, 26-degree launch angle. Nolan Jones, man, coming on the scene early and making a splash. And the Guardians, they are enjoying your contribution because, they're still in the hunt for the AL Central. So, and it's people like him, Steve Kwan, Jose Ramirez. They got some good firepower on that squad. So, congrats, Nolan Jones. All right. Now, at this point, we would normally do general topics and then do our just breakdowns of the divisions, but we're going to go straight into the All-Stars festivities. So we're, of course, next Monday is the Home Run Derby. There was always the Home Run Derby before the All-Star Game. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you who all has officially signed up for the Home Run Derby. So you have Pete Alonso, the reigning two-time champ from the Mets, Juan Soto of the Nationals, Ronald Acuna Jr., fresh off the injury for the Braves, Kyle Schwarber for the Phillies, and all in Mr. 40-something-year-old himself. We don't even know how his true age. The legend himself, the token legend, the one who doesn't deserve it, but is there anyway. Of course, talking about the machine. He's made bank. Albert Pujols, this 5th Home Run Derby appearance. Ah, man, oh man. Are they just that desperate for participants? They want to go all in on the legend this year? I don't know, man.
It's like you said, the game no longer is consequential. So it's so it allows for the freedom to make decisions like this.
Mm-hmm. Man, so as of now, they still have 3 people to get for the competition. But out of the 5 so far, Pete Alonso, Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna Jr., Pujols, Schwarber. Trav, what are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm a visual man here. I'm pulling this up. Yeah. Acuna, Pujol. I feel like the back end of things there definitely gives me the most there. I feel like where there's the most interest here. Acuna. I mean, Pujols obviously for the legacy appearance that he's making there, and then Schwarber. I mean, it's a fun little group that we have this year. I guess, yeah. When I've paid attention to the All-Star Game festivities, I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention historically to the Home Run Derby.
Ooh.
I'm more of a All-Star Game kind of guy. I think it's more interesting to see, how all these, different players and different personalities here across these different teams, when they're stuck on teams together, what does the chemistry look like of that lineup there in terms of, what they're giving at the plate defensively, like how they communicate with each other. I mean, it's none of these guys that are stars are going to put everything out on the line to do really well in the All-Star Game and risk possibly an injury heading into the final couple of months of the regular season. But I mean, you're still gonna, you're still definitely playing for pride. They're gonna want to do as well as they can. It's gonna be seeing, hey, how do those personalities and everything mesh together? But I think this is a fun little on the Home Run Derby side of things. Fun little lineup to see some good star power names there. Seeing how Pujol. This is fun. Be fun to tune in this year just because of Pujols. Seeing like how he does.
Yes, he is going to be mashing homers in a stadium that he was on the team for just a year ago. He was on the Dodgers for the last part of last year, and he did hit a few bombs. And the thing about Dodger Stadium, there is really no lefty or righty advantage because the stadium is just it's symmetrical. It's not like in terms of the size of the wall and just from a bird's eye view. It's not like Mile High Stadium, Coors Field, in which you have a disadvantage if you're a lefty because that wall is higher. So this one, there is no advantage. So it's just purely who can hit batting practice homers. Now, it's a lot of home runs for the season doesn't mean they're a batting practice home run hitting machine. Look at Shohei Ohtani. The guy got knocked out of the home run derby in the first round last year, even though he was the leader in home runs at the time. So, he also had the lefty disadvantage because of the high wall, but still, I mean, you have to keep that in mind. Pete Alonso, that guy, that guy, he's gone on some home run tears in the past. He has 28 bombs this year. He is second in home runs in all of MLB. But I just don't know how he is at the batting practice homers. I am glad he's in it though. I don't think he's ever done it. Juan Soto, he did the home run derby last year. That guy's just a glutton for punishment. He just loves doing it for some reason. But he is one of the most exciting players in baseball. So,
Yeah.
As for the other three, I think Aaron Judge probably declined, even though I can't find that for a fact. Yordan Alvarez is injured. I don't know if Mike Trout's ever done the home run derby. I'm just looking at the home run leaders because they tend to base it off the home run leaders. I would love to see Byron Buxton do it. I think he would be incredibly exciting. Austin Riley, it would be cool if he did it. Anthony Rizzo, Corey Seager has 20 bombs on the year. I mean, Mookie Betts. I mean, I don't know. Once the final field is set, Trav, we should make our predictions like via Twitter, because you can fill that bracket out on MLB.com. So,
Yeah.
we can definitely cross that bridge there. So, but I like watching the home run derby. So to each his own, I guess.
Yeah.
But I especially like watching it when an Astros is in there, an Astros player. But that'll take place on Monday. But then the very next day, the All-Star game will happen. So we're gonna go ahead and list out the starters first for the American League, the side that has basically won most of the All-Star games. I mean, it's just the American League just always seems to win. The National League just can't catch a break. I mean, I think I'm gonna look it up while we're on here, just the overall score, but it's just, will the National League ever win? We will see. But for the American League, you got the catcher, Alejandro Kirk at the Blue Jays. First baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at the Blue Jays as well. So, right off the bat, Blue Jays well represented. Second baseman, Jose Altuve for the win. Jose. Will he actually participate this year? Will he endure the onslaught of boos? We will see. All the Astros snubbed it out last year. But this time, will he endure it? Will he rip it off like a Band-Aid? Will he get it over with? That remains to be seen. Third baseman, Rafael Devers. I know between him and Jose Ramirez, I was very close to see who would be the starter. But Rafi does edge out Jose Ramirez for third base. Tim Anderson, the shortstop. Guy hitting for insane average. A great pick. Outfielder, you got Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, and Giancarlo Stanton. And then the designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani, barely beating out Yordan Alvarez. A pretty good lineup. Third base was tough. It was tough on both sides. There's plenty of rock star third basemen. But when you take the reserves into effect, I think everyone is covered. The reserves are Jose Trevino of the Yankees. Infield reserves are Luis Arias, Xander Bogaerts, Jose Ramirez, Andres Jimenez, both of those from the Guardians. You got reserve outfielders George Springer, Byron Buxton, Andrew Benintendi, Kyle Tucker, another Astros guy, Julio Rodriguez, the rookie sensation from the Mariners, my pick to win AL Rookie of the Year. Preseason picks, shall I say. I think I'm just going to go ahead and I know it's kind of a stretch for Jeremy Pena. Well, it's not too big of a stretch. I would have loved to have seen Jeremy Pena get on the reserves. I think his numbers are stellar enough to do that. I know Xander Bogaerts is good, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just the homerism is exuding itself, but um, I'll tell you what, Trav. I wanted Jonah Heim to be the reserve for the American League because I think his numbers are good this year. I don't know
Yeah.
about you.
I mean, Jonah Heim is just fantastic. With his defensive prowess as a catcher there, really linking up communication wise with the guys on the mound there in the Rangers pitching rotation. But I mean, the guy can rake at the plate too. He has really good plate appearances. He makes good decisions there. He's very methodical. I 100% agree with you. I think Jonah Heim would have been a fantastic reserve at the catcher position for the American League.
Yes, and just to prove it, Jonah Heim has a better OPS plus than Jose Trevino. Their WARs are very similar. You look at their Jonah Heim has a better OPS. He has a better on base percentage, and he has a better slugging. He has more home runs. I mean, at this point, and he has a better batting average. I mean, a complete snub. I mean, come on, guys. It's like, I, the New York bias is there. I'm just gonna say it. They got the home. We think we have homerism. They have homerism. So just
Yeah.
that.
I mean, man,
Yeah.
you think about like the coastal and large market bias. I mean, I think that's definitely there with with these selections probably in some regard here with the starters. Just you got I mean, it's the Blue Jays, but I mean, still, you've got American League East there. You've got the writers up in that part of the country that they're very familiar with him there, and the fans as well. And then the Altuve. I mean, just the stud that he is with the Astros, and the Astros being just a model of success for as long as they've been now over much of the past decade. Red Sox, White Sox, Yankees, Angels. National League, which we'll get to in a second, definitely has a good bit of coastal representation. It's coastal bias is there for sure in terms of the selection, the publicity that these guys get.
Oh well. And what we'll just have to see. But yeah. Overall, I think the people who deserve to be in there deserve to be there. But I guess they can't get everybody. But it is a shame because when you are a member of the All-Star roster, you have that accolade. It's on your baseball reference for the rest of your life. And it does matter, especially when it comes to Hall of Fame bids. You can point to someone, they're like, for Jose Altuve, for instance, it's his eighth time All-Star. That sentence right there, 8-time All-Star, it just sounds good. So when he's eventually up for Hall of Fame voting, it's going to be a small piece of the puzzle where it's like, oh, he's got a career batting average of 300 something, and he's an 8-time All-Star, and MVP, and it's just that much more to add to the resume. So it does matter. But I don't know. The people decide, though. So,
yes.
Indeed. Now for the National League, the Purist League, who will enjoy a designated hitter for the first time in baseball history in the All-Star game. Catcher Wilson Contreras, first baseman Paul Goldschmidt, which that guy is the MVP frontrunner by a mile and a half. Definitely deserves to be the starter. Jazz Chisholm, second baseman, very excited that he's in. Manny Machado at third base, carrying the team on his back. Trey Turner, shortstop. That guy is very underrated. And outfielder, you got Ronald Acuna Jr., Mookie Betts, Jock Peterson, and the designated hitter Bryce Harper, who is injured, but he did get voted as the starter. So the reserve, William Contreras, will probably play, which means that the Contreras bros will play together for the same league on the same team. First time since 2003 that a pair of brothers has been on the same team in the All-Star game. So the brotherly love, it's gonna be there, man. But pretty rock solid lineup, if I do say so myself. Um, yeah, the outfielders were very. It was pretty easy. Well, predictable, shall I say? The outfielder picks. When it comes to shortstop, I mean, Dansby Swanson. You could say he got snubbed. He is a reserve, but man, speaking of reserves, you got Travis d'Arnaud, catcher, infielders, Nolan Arenado, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, CJ Crone carrying the Rockies on his back, Nancy Swanson, outfielders, Kyle Schwarber, Juan Soto, Starling Marte, Ian Happ, designated hitter, William Contreras is in as a reserve, and he's probably going to be the starter, which means that Garrett Cooper is going to be the new reserve for the National League, injury replacement. And then, you know what? I almost forgot the legacy picks. So, the American League legacy pick is none other than Mr. 3000, Mr. 500 himself, Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers. And the National League legacy pick is Albert Pujols. So, your thoughts on the National League, my friend?
Yeah, man, I can't. This is one that I really cannot. I can't argue with the National League here on these picks. I feel like they've got a mix of young guys and star power here. Guys, that have been in the limelight here in big situations. I just love that Jazz Chisholm pick for second base. I mean, the kid is just fiery and fun to watch. Yeah. Bryce Harper, unfortunately, he's going to miss due to injury. So it looks like we'll have. It looks like you'll have replacement in for him. But man, that's a really good stout National League lineup. That National League lineup, man, maybe that looking at that just compared to the American League, maybe this is the year that the National League wins it.
Maybe you would think. Of course, it all depends on their pitching, which we can get to that. But as far as snubs, before we get to the pitching position player snubs, I mean, a lot of people are saying that Austin Riley was a snub, but I mean, Nolan Arenado was started off the season red hot, and then if you look at the starter, which is Manny Machado, it's kind of hard to fit Austin Riley in there. Not taking anything away from Austin Riley, I think he had a good year, but it's just, I don't know, it's tough. Austin Riley, I think, is better as of late, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's close. You look at other position players. Let's talk. I mean, Corey Seager. I mean, you could have. This guy's been good as of late too. He had a slow start. Kind of like Austin positions, and then Ty France. A lot of people are like, "What the heck?" to Ty France, but yeah, it's tough. There's just it's a good problem to have when you have too many guys who could have easily made it. So, but now, without further ado, let's go to the pitchers for both leagues. American League pitchers: Shane McClanahan of the Rays, Nestor Cortez of the Yankees, Alek Manoah of the Blue Jays, Framber Valdez of the Astros, Martin Perez.
Martin Perez, man, what a redemption story. Yes. I pulled up Perez's baseball reference here just to show like what an improvement has been for this guy this year. Mm-hmm. He was a pickup late in the off season from the Red Sox. Spent a couple of seasons there. Had that one season in Minnesota back in 2019. Had that run between 2012 to 2018. But left pretty unceremoniously. The Rangers in 2018, at the end of 2018 season, and returns back here this year. We saw him as depth. We didn't have a ton of expectations. It was kind of like a low risk, high reward type of move to acquire him. But wow, the guy has just been on fire this year and is having what looks like the best year of his career right now. Yeah, 778 winning percentage this year, 7-2 as a starter, 2.72 ERA. I think this is the big, just seeing like to the how well he has pitched to this point. Like he pitched 114 innings total last year in Boston, in 22 games started. He has started 17 games this year, and he has pitched 106 innings. And he allowed 136 runs. The 36 hits, 71 runs last year, 99 hits and 37 runs allowed so far. So, just that the amount of innings that he has pitched, he's letting a whole lot less guys on base, a lot fewer guys on base, and just has control at the mound. Really is just a well-rounded pitcher, and has been a guy, has had command, can take the Rangers deep into games, and the win-loss record shows it. And so he's been, it's fun as a Rangers fan looking at these pieces like Corey Seager and Marcus Semien that have, really turned it on lately. You've got guys like Josh White, the young pieces like him that have come up. They're starting to show some teeth here. We look at the future and the farm system of guys like Jack Leiter and Josh Young, other guys that still have a ways to go, but the talent is there for them to make an impact in the future. But all that, it's one of those that you say like, hey, tip of the hat to the front office with a move like Martin Perez, and seeing like, hey, this is the type of move to do it. You need that depth there. In your rotation, you get a guy like Perez back. We have warmly embraced him back here in the DFW area. He's been a fan favorite once again, and just really cool to see.
Representing the Arlington Rangers. Yes, their lone pick. Their lone representative. So congratulations, Rangers. You have a singular all-star this year. So congratulations. Other pitchers include Paul Blackburn. It's good to have the Athletics represented. Justin Verlander, the fine wine himself. Garrett Cole. Shohei Ohtani is going to be pitching and hitting, because of course he is. Clay Holmes of the Yankees, Emmanuel Clase from the Guardians, Gregory Soto from the Tigers, their lone representatives, so they have someone to look forward to. And then the Orioles have a representative in Jorge Lopez. So, definitely spreading out the love there. 3 Yankees pitchers, my goodness. Nasty Nestor and Garrett Cole. But Clay Holmes, he's a solid pitcher. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But I think one of the biggest snubs, Travis, of this all-star lineup, both ways, Dylan Cease of the White Sox. I think that guy just got robbed. You look at any of these pitchers, especially ones that are just kind of on the edge, Dylan Cease could have easily been in there, and it's a shame, really. So I'm not gonna, go to bat for many guys, but I think that he's definitely one of the biggest snubs out there. So, but they wanted 3 Yankees pitchers.
No bias there.
Again, there's a theme to this, but I guess we're just jealous because they're the number 1 team in baseball, and their roster is incredibly stacked. But who will be the starting pitcher? You can make an argument for Shane McClanahan, JV probably. I don't know. It'd be cool to see Justin Verlander. Going to be between Verlander and McClanahan, myself.
You could put Alek Manoah in the mix there for sure.
Oh yeah, true that. So I really don't know who it's going to be at this point, but we will find out for sure. But aside from Cease, you could say, Gosman got snubbed. You could say Logan Gilbert. So, and then lastly, the National League pitchers. Clayton Kershaw, baby, the fine wine from the Dodgers, is an all-star this year. Sandy Alcantara. This dude, if he's not the starter for the National League, there's something wrong. Sandy Alcantara is the best pitcher in baseball, period. End of story. This guy is going super deep in the games. He's throwing consistently 6, 7, 8, 9 innings, very few runs given up. I mean, he has to be the starter. There is no other option. And there's great pitchers besides him. I mean, Burns is great. Fried's great. I mean, Luis Castillo, Tony Gosnelin. That guy's been phenomenal for the Dodgers. So the Dodgers have just got some great pitching. Joe Musgrove, again, amazing. But Alcantara has to be the starter. Are going to agree with me because Sandy Alcantara, he is the shining star of the Marlins. If I were a Marlins fan, I would only go to games that Sandy Alcantara is pitching at because you're seeing a guy who's on the verge of throwing a no-hitter every night, basically. I mean, he's that good. It's just, he is really asserting himself. He is the front runner for the Cy Young. It's not even close. And then you have closers and relievers. You got Edwin Diaz, an absolute beast of a closer for the Mets. Josh Hader was selected, but he will miss the game because he's on bereavement list. Very unfortunate in his case. Ryan Helsley for the Cardinals, David Bednar for the Pirates, Joe Mantiply for the Diamondbacks, and then Carlos Rodon, who a lot of people say got snubbed. He gets in to replace Josh Hader. So it's unfortunate circumstances because Hader's on bereavement list, but Rodon does get to participate. So bummer for Hader. He's the best closer in baseball. Edwin Diaz is actually, he can kind of make an argument for best closer. But we'll see. So there you have it. It's going to be a good one. A lot of people are saying Zach Wheeler should have been it. Yeah, I think you could have maybe snuck him in towards the back end, maybe. But man. So let's kind of take a look at this. So, and let's ultimately give our predictions. But before we give our predictions as to who will win, I have on Wikipedia, which is Wikipedia is the almighty Wikipedia, the most accurate source of information.
Haters will say it's fake, but we all know that it's the most reliable source out there.
Yes, they never wanted us to use Wikipedia as a source growing up.
If you just take a look at whatever you're searching for, if it's got those footnotes and you dig into the sources there and you see things that ultimately line up, you're not seeing gaps in what you're reading there. It's probably good, but hey, that requires discernment, and it's we know America is just fabulous at at making great decisions with that type of stuff.
Yes, exactly. So, but if you look at the overall, All-Star games have been played since 1933. Do you want to guess which league has the most wins at this point, Travis?
Ooh, this is good. I'm gonna guess this is a trick question here. I think we talk about the I'm just guessing here because I've not done my homework on this. We talk about the success in recent decades of the American League, and it truly has been the AL show when the All-Star break comes around. But I'm going to guess that the National League holds the slim lead over the American League in terms of it. Am I correct?
That is a better guess than you would think, but it is still wrong. The American League has the lead, although it's not by much, 46-43.
All right.
So
Okay. So it's reverse kind of what I was thinking there. I
it is a
expected the
lot
National League to
closer.
be on there.
But if you look at the years, the National League had its years of dominance, baby. Because really, before the adoption of the designated hitter by the American League, that was really when the American League started taking off. But until that point, National League, the OG League, they owned the American League. From 1963 to 1970, the National League won every single time. The American League won in 71, but then from 72 to 82, all National League. So, I mean, and then you have like American League will win one, and then the National League will win three. And then the American League will barely win one, and then the National League will win a bunch. So, really, up until 87, the National League had a 37-20 lead. So they think about this. In 87, National League is up in the total 37-20. But then after 87, American League starts roaring back, and they roar back hard, baby. They're just the winds just start piling, and then they get up, they surpass the American League, the National League, and they have the lead themselves. The National League has not won an All-Star game since 2012. So it's been a long time. If they kept Sandy Alcantara in the whole time, and if they're gonna pitch Sandy Alcantara for no more than 2 innings, I just know that for a fact. But if they kept him in, it would give the National League a pretty darn good chance, even though the American League is stacked. I'm gonna throw you under the bus, Travis. Who do you think is gonna win?
I'm standing my ground. It's the National League's year.
Oh, the National League. I mean, that's a pretty good. They have a pretty good chance. Paul Goldschmidt is a man.
It's a National League park there with the Dodgers. You know, these guys are more than familiar there with playing there. So, I mean, granted, they played in Colorado last year at Coors. I mean, that once again, that didn't do much ultimately for him. But yeah, I think I'm standing my ground here. My takes are often horribly wrong, but I am the Siberian cold level takes co-host on this podcast here, so I'm sticking with it.
Go for it, man. I'm gonna go American League, and I know it's boring, but not only do I think the American League will win again, but I think it's going to be poetic justice. Jose Altuve, amidst 50,000 plus people booing the crap out of him, will hit a home run in the All-Star game and finally be vindicated of the blasphemy, just the sheer nonsense that has been thrown his way. I'm at least hoping that happens. But I don't know. One can dream. If that does happen, I will lose it. I will absolutely lose it. I'll be like, in your face. In your face.
All right. I'm picking a Trey Turner 2-run walk-off hit out into the outfield to win this game. 6-5.
Oh, wow.
National League.
Man. There you go. Well, he is a starter. So will they keep him in, or at that point will they substitute in Xander Bogaerts? Well, wrong league. Will they substitute in Dansby Swanson at that point?
Yeah, who knows?
Well, you never know.
I mean, he is a Dodgers man right there. They're in LA, so
true that.
That might be a. I'm just picking crazy thoughts here. I don't have a whole lot of horses here in this year's All-Star game, figuratively and literally, with the one Rangers appearance and Martin Perez pitching for the American League this year. So it's just thinking of I'm coming up with the craziest takes and thoughts I can that can happen for this game.
There you go. So if you think the American League or the National League is going to win, who is going to be the MVP? It has to be someone from the National League roster. So who's your MVP pick? All-Star MVP.
It's an excellent question. I think. Give me a second here.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, man, this is a tough one here. I'm gonna say it is gonna be Wilson Contreras.
Ooh, man, that's an interesting pick.
He's offensive stud catcher that he is. So
his only chance of winning All-Star MVP home run. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, you got to hit a home run. Last year, Vladdy hit a home run for the American League. The American League won. He got the MVP. So, I mean, you just have to. That is who you have to. That's who it has to be. So, but hey, if anyone can do it, he can. Any of these guys are capable of mashing it. But a very interesting pick. But I hope you're right. Should the National League win. So if you do win, then yeah, we'll give you huge props if you win. My opinion is that Aaron Judge is going to be the MVP when the American League wins. And I'll tell you why. This guy's playing outside of his mind. And I think he is just hell-bent on just shoving it in the Yankees' face. The guy is leading the league in home runs. He's a front runner for the MVP, for the American League MVP for the season. I think he's just going to go in and he is just going to make a case for the Dodgers to just blow even more money and get him so that way he can grow out his beard and live that California lifestyle. It's going to be an audition for the Dodgers. No, I'm halfway joking. The Dodgers at this point, they've blown past the, God, I don't even know what you call it. It's late at night, but you get what I'm saying? There's the salary cap. And so I think Aaron Judge is he's going to mash a home run. Or, I don't know. I mean, you could choose Mike Trout, but I think Aaron Judge is he's hell-bent. Mike Trout is sad because he's on a pathetic team, but Aaron Judge he's going to ride the wave, the Yankees wave, and make it. So it is going to be exciting nonetheless. So we'll definitely be watching it. Y'all should too. Next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central, baby. Will the National League try to even things up? So. Real quick, we're going to do our weekly No Doubter rankings. Very, very few differences. Very few differences. You got Red Sox at number 10, Brewers number 9, Twins number 7, going down a spot. Flip-flopping with them. The Cardinals moving ahead of the Twins. I just think that the Cardinals just are a little more hotter than the Twins, although the Twins are still respectable. Then you got the Padres at number 6, the Mets at number 3, 4. Astros moving down a spot. I'm quelling my homerism. They were at number 2. Now they're down at number 3.
First time in weeks.
First time in weeks that I am checking my homerism bias. It's just, you might as well just call this the Astros No Doubter podcast at this point. But although the Astros are 8-2 of their last 10, the Dodgers are on a 7-game win streak. They're 9-1 of their last 10. They have a plus 151 run differential. And I mean, I got to give it to them. They're technically hotter than the Astros at this point. The Dodgers are. Dodgers are number 2. Yankees are still at number 1. Although that are all breathing down the Yankees' neck. Mark my words. The Yankees, they can't be at number one forever. Yes, they have the best record, but I think their days are numbered. They're starting to show a little bit of weakness. Not too much. They still have a 14.5 game lead over the Red Sox, but they are starting to show that they have a little bit of weakness. They are not invincible. So, but they are still number one. And I mean, it's going to be hard. I just think if I put Dodgers or Astros at number one ahead of the Yankees, I don't know. You're not going to like it no matter what. We know that. So please direct your hate to our email because we'll totally read it.
Yeah.
So nodoubterpodcast@gmail.com. Send us a carefully written letter. So, all right, man. Well, I'm pumped, man. I'm ready to go. Halfway point, baby. We can do some mid-season predictions. It's going to be awesome. I think it's fair to say that we probably will be off next week, but we will, we'll be hitting it up on Twitter. So just, follow us around. And Trav, why don't you go ahead and tell our audience where they can follow us?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So we're winding down another great episode here of the No Doubter podcast. As Boom just said, we're going to be off next week watching the game. We'll pick this back up again 2 weeks from now on Tuesday, July 26th.
Mm-hmm.
The month of July is flying on by. Like, we're already in the second half of the year now, and July is just like we're right at the midway point. So 2 weeks from now, we'll be right at the very end of it. Man, just you blink and life just keeps flashing by right before you. But anyways, it's been another great episode for us here. So you can make sure that you are all tuned in to No Doubter and not missing anything that we put out by subscribing to our podcast. We know a lot of you have done that already, but if you haven't done so, this is once again your reminder to do so. We're on wherever you can get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever the provider is, we're there. Search No Doubter Podcast, subscribe. We would really appreciate that. Our YouTube channel as well. You can search No Doubter Podcast. You will find that. Subscribe there as well. That helps us bring this podcast in video form. So we broadcast on YouTube, broadcast on our podcast Facebook page, our personal Facebook pages, Twitter. There you can follow Boom and I on Twitter as well at No Doubter. First off, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at No Doubter Pod and also on Instagram at No Doubter Pod. The Boom and myself are at Boombostic21 and at Travis Lawfully. Take a look at our Patreon. If you haven't done so already, we would love to build a community there of people that love the game of baseball. There, you got several different tier options that you can choose for there. And the commonality in all of them is that you are a part of bringing this show here to the interwebs and to the podcasting world. And so we recognize a couple of men that are making that possible for us here. First off, our longest standing patron, Mr. Tab Bostic, and then our Patreon producer, Mr. Don Hale, who's all the way up at the legend level, our top tier of Patreon of patrons. We cannot thank you fellas enough for being part of our community and helping us out here, recoup some of these costs along the way. Check out our merch store. Our partner at TeePublic has done an excellent job over the past year, providing excellent No Doubter merchandise, including mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, baseball shirts, crew neck sweatshirts, phone cases, many more items on there with the No Doubter logo on them. You can, whatever you're doing in your everyday life, you can let people know about our show and help get the word out. You'll see all those links in the description below. Boom. Send this one home.
So as you're going throughout your life, as you're debating on whether or not to listen to ERCOT and actually raise that thermostat for the good of humanity, if you're debating that, if you are sensing some frustrations, the heat has got you down, stay positive. Go about your life and the right way. Drink responsibly. Bat 400 and always swing for the fences. Bottoms up from Team Money over there. There you go. If you don't finish the beer, it doesn't count. So do it. Bottoms up.
I've gotten it all. It's just little phone bits now.
Yes. Bat 400, always swing for the fences. Join us as we watch the All-Star game, baby. It is the greatest time of year. We will see you all 2 weeks, baby.